There are some crazy ways that people have been banned from cruise lines. So we're going to talk about them. So if you're one of those people that is looking for a way to get banned, you're going to have some great ideas here, so stick around. I think we'll start off with a big story that has been going around in the past couple of weeks. It actually happened in 2023, so I'm not sure why it just now is making the rounds. But in any case, I have the full story here, and I'm talking about that 9-year-old that was banned from Carnival Cruise Line. So in 2023, this family went on Carnival Celebration, and we don't know if her name is Linda Smith or if that's just the code name that the story was using, but we'll stick with Linda. Linda and her family went on Carnival Celebration. Carnival is their favorite cruise line. They've been on many Carnival cruises before. And this young 9-year-old boy has also been on a cruise before with no issues. Now, a little backstory, he's adopted and he has some childhood trauma, so he needs medication for that. So Linda tried to get the prescription refilled before going on the cruise, but wasn't able to do so. And since he has been on a cruise before without any issues, she felt like he'd be okay for a few days without the medication. So they get on the cruise and the boy gets separated from his family. And the mother's not too worried. She's just thinking, oh, he's in the arcade playing video games, no big deal. Well, 10 o'clock at night and they haven't seen him. And so she's starting to worry. So she goes to the arcade thinking that's where he'll be, and he's not there. But she starts looking around the ship and she finds him at the pizza shop, just sitting there, all innocent. So she's grateful to have him, and they go back to their cabin and go to sleep. Well, at 2 o'clock in the morning, they hear a knock on the door and they open it, and it's security. They tell her that her son has caused some havoc on the cruise ship. At that point, she only knew about, she's calling it an argument that he had with another boy. She didn't know about the damage to the arcade that he had also done at that point. So she apologizes, oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, we'll keep an eye on him, and security leaves and she thinks it's done. So they finish their 6-day cruise and they don't let him wander the ship anymore. No other issues. And then they get a letter saying that they are not allowed to get off of the ship yet and they need to wait for further instruction. So of course they're sitting there nervous. They're watching people leave the ship. And I'm sure they're looking at that boy saying, what did you do? And I can only imagine his response.
Listen, Linda, listen.
So finally, they are delivered a notarized letter signed by the captain and the head of security, and it tells them it's addressed to the boy. Now, not to the parents, it's addressed to the boy, telling the boy that he is now banned from the ship. And then they find out that he had damaged an arcade machine also. So, again, they apologize. Oh no, we have another cruise we're going on though. And they tried to explain, well, he didn't have his medicine. We'll pay for any damages he caused, all of that. But Carnival does not budge. They say, nope, he is banned for life at 9 years old. So the family gets home, and for the next 4 months, Linda tries frantically to lift the ban to get her child reinstated so they can go on this family reunion cruise. She has doctor's notes, she gets an attorney, she does everything she could think of to get Carnival to let the boy cruise again. But Carnival says no, he is banned for life, and they stick to it. And that's the end of the story. Is I haven't heard any recent updates, so all the news is still that last word is he's banned for life, not until he's 18 or 21 or married and has kids. He's banned for life. My thoughts on this are, does ADHD medicine explain why he damaged an arcade machine and got in an argument or a fight with another boy? No, it doesn't. If he had childhood trauma, then maybe there was mental illness and he shouldn't be on a ship with that many people unsupervised, when who knows what would happen to him if he would snap and start screaming and attacking and throwing things. You never know. So he shouldn't have been on the ship in the first place, let alone unsupervised. About the ban, I personally think it's a little excessive to ban a 9-year-old for life. Kids grow up. I mean, he's 9 years old, his brain is still developing. Maybe once he's 25 and his brain is fully developed, he'll be in a better position. but then again, maybe not. I think they should have an appeals process where after he's a certain age, he can say, oh, I'm mature now, I haven't had any issues, my criminal record is clean, I've never had any altercations, I have a family of my own, whatever it may be. Maybe there should be an appeals process for kids that are banned at that young age. Tell me what you think, though. Do you think the parents should have been banned for life? The whole family? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I'm interested to see your take on it. Our next story is about Joshua Lowe. Now, last year, Joshua Lowe was dating a girl who was going on a cruise with her family, and her family did not invite Joshua. So what do you think he did? Well, what would any reasonable teenager do? He called in a bomb threat. Yes. So once again, this is Carnival, and Carnival searched 1,000 rooms for the bomb because they have to take every bomb threat seriously, just in case. Of course, they didn't find one. They tracked it down to Joshua Lowe and he was arrested. And then just recently, he was sentenced to 8 months in jail for his prank. And of course, he's banned for life. Another way to do it. Now, I don't even know where to start with this one. Your girlfriend's going on a cruise without you, so you call in a bomb threat. I don't know. To me, that just screams controlling. She's going to be away from him where he can't control her, so can't let that happen. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know. So this next story is a little interesting. This is about Joyce, and she was a loyal Norwegian Cruise Line cruiser. She loved NCL. She was friendly. She loved talking to the crew. She even got their email addresses and would email them between cruises. So one day she was trying to book her cruise on her favorite ship with her favorite crew, and she couldn't book the ship, or she couldn't book the cruise. So she called up Norwegian and told them, hey, I'm trying to book this cruise. I really need to go on this one. And they said, oh, sorry, you're banned. You can't book a cruise with us. And she was, what? Why? And it's because she was emailing the crew. So the crew are under strict rules not to have any type of physical relationship with the crew, with the passengers. The crew are paid to be friendly. They have to be friendly to you. It doesn't mean they're your friend or they like you. They have to do it because their job depends on it. If they get a bad review, they can get fired. So of course they're going to give you their email address and act like you're buddies because they want positive feedback on the end of the cruise review. So it's not a fair position to put them in because they don't want to give out their personal email address. But if they don't, you might score them low and they could get fired. So they don't want to lose their job. They want to get bonuses. They want to provide for their families. So they're going to do what they can to make sure you have a positive experience. And what happened with Joyce is you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to contact the crew. I don't know what was said in the emails. I don't know if she was trying to date one of them or if she was just overly friendly. I don't know. But she was banned. There's always two sides to a story, and we're only getting one side, so who knows. But just remember that the crew is paid to be friendly. They're going to be nice to you. You can be nice to them too, but just know that they're not your buddy. They're there to make sure your experience is a positive one. The next way you can get banned if you're really itching for a ban is to charge back your cruise. Now this happens more often than you'd think, where somebody doesn't get the room they wanted on an Alaskan cruise, or they had an issue and they weren't happy with the resolution the cruise line offered. They felt like their whole cruise should have been free. So they issue a chargeback, and of course they're going to get their money back. The cruise line's not going to fight it. They're just going to say, okay, you're banned. And that's what happens. Now, sometimes the cruise line will lift the ban if you pay them back, but it's up to them. They don't have to. They can accept the money and then still keep you banned. So just remember, if you don't like how the cruise experience was, make sure that while you're still on the cruise, you talk to customer service desk there and try to get it worked out. But if you wait till afterwards, it's even harder. And then if you do a chargeback, you'll get your money, but you're going to be banned. So keep that in mind. The next story is one that has happened recently as well. This is where Melinda uses CBD gummies to help her sleep at night. And since they're legal where she lives in the US, she thought she'd just bring them along on the cruise ship. But once she tried to board the Carnival ship, they said, no, gummies are not allowed, and they banned her from cruising. Now, I don't know the whole story. She says that she tried to bring them in and they held her for hours and then told her she's never allowed to cruise on their ships again. But I don't know if there's more to the story. Was she aggressive with them? Did she threaten them? Who knows? But she was banned. And I don't know if bringing CBD automatically is just an auto ban regardless of the situation, or if they take each scenario differently and based on how you react, they decide if, okay, it was a simple mistake or if it warrants a ban. So that's why it's important to read what is prohibited before you go on the cruise and don't bring those items, because they will confiscate them. Depending on the severity, they'll either ban you or they'll still let you board. Just know that you'll lose it. And definitely don't try to smuggle things in. That's even worse. Now, sometimes people do sneak things in. I've been on a ship, it was MSC, where somebody brought something that smelled like a skunk. And it's just filled up the cabin we were in and other cabins around us apparently also. It was an awful smell. So don't do that, please, for the sake of your neighbors. Now, there are some obvious bans, and these are automatically banned. If you have a physical altercation, you will get banned. Now, recently, just this past weekend, there was this big brawl that happened just off of once the Carnival Jubilee disembarked and people were at the port. 24 people were banned from Carnival because of it. And apparently this altercation started over basketball. I don't know if someone called a foul and the other person didn't think it was right, who knows, but it started over basketball. There was a little scuffle a couple times on the ship apparently, and then this brawl happened after they got off. Fighting is a ban. And I know I've mentioned Carnival quite a bit because most of these are Carnival, but fighting also happens on other ships as well. Like Royal Caribbean just recently had one where these teenagers were being obnoxious, and there was a couple on an elevator these teenagers were on, and they were jumping up and down, and the man asked them if they would stop, and they didn't. And then when they were on their floor, they tried to get off, and the teenagers blocked them, so he pushed his way through, and then they just jumped in and beat him and knocked him unconscious. So that was on a Royal Caribbean cruise. So not all Carnival, but of course those involved were banned. Now, you might think, well, what if it's self-defense? Am I still going to get banned? And the answer is yes, surprisingly. There was a brother and sister that went out one night, and there were a couple guys that had a little bit too much to drink that were oogling his sister, so he stepped in to defend her, and he was banned, as well as the drunken people. So just know that if there's an issue, get security, let security handle it. They will take care of it. But if you step in and try to take care of it yourself, you will most likely be banned, no matter how noble your deeds may be. So keep that in mind. Just contact security. Some other ways that should be pretty obvious is climbing over rails. Like if your friend is in the balcony cabin next to you, you can't climb outside around to get into the balcony because you'll be banned if you don't fall and give yourself your own permanent ban. Which also, jumping off a ship is an automatic ban as well if you even survive. Most people don't, so that's also, you get banned one way or the other. So these are some of the crazy ways people have been banned off cruise ships. If there's other ways you've heard that I didn't mention, let me know in the comments. It's always so fun to read stories of crazy ways people get banned. And then you just wonder, what were they thinking? Why would you do that? It's fun to read. So just let me know in the comments below. Again, I'm Jordan with Beyond the Dock. And until next time, we'll see you as we venture beyond the dock. Happy cruising.